Fun young cannibals there. I found a pear drop in the fruit bowl of these, which I proceeded to pop into my mouth because I'm quite partial to boiled sweet. This is my hit. I recommend that the rhubarb and the Marx's rhubarb and custard, they're sugar-free. My sister got me on. They really taste exactly like they say they rhubarb. And then there's the custard. Right there. On the way to work. Living life in fun. Anyway, he's quite partial to a boiled sweet. Started after using
empty canvas. Go with my original one.
while sitting in our inflatable hot tub. Phenomenal. Oh, I love the bit Sam. She knows she pulled a classy hug with me, says Darren. Western Superman. I mean, Sam's had a gentle massage and he's not even turned it on yet. Chips and curry sauce. Oh, yeah. Evening Lisa, my son asked me exactly where we'd been on holiday. I was able to tell her that we'd been to Devon. My son had told her we'd been to heaven. Hello from Two Beans, the smelly bulldog. Festive wishes, everybody. It's cold and it's damp in Great Brickhill, says Sue.
Oh, I did that wrong. Try again. Oh, no, sketch.
This morning, I woke up with this feeling. I didn't know how to deal with it.
Nice, easy, chilled out evening. Good.
And did not go shout it when you walk. I love you. I think I love you. So what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm not sure of. But up there, no cure for. I think I love you. Isn't that what life is made of? So it worries me to say that I've never felt this way. But I'm up against what's the thing about? Hey! I only want to be happy, and if you can't take away, I will. But I think better still, I'd better stay around. I think I have Oh, that brings back memories from the Partridge Family there. Shirley Jones was initially at the lead, but frankly, he just took over, didn't he? But he, suddenly forgotten that man's name. David Cassidy. Thank you. Thanks, everybody over a certain age. Hi, Lisa. I was driving my mum to my sister's for the weekend one evening. And as we were driving along, Mum asked, would you like an extra strong mint? So I went through her handbag and she put it into my mouth, There's no comment or anything. You have to forgive me. It's too late. How does it happen? Anyway, mint. So she put it into my mouth, only after sucking it for a few seconds and saying, she said, oh, sorry. She picked me one of her Steradin tablets that she uses for her body. Big up to all the NHS staff at the Pulvertar Cancer Centre. Big up. What's going on? Hi, Lisa. I didn't have action being a girl in a less enlightened age. I wasn't allowed Barbies. They were sexist. So I had Cindy with the great big head. I used to make her parachutes out of cactus and hurl her from the top of trees, climbing frames, all those top secret. What's wrong with being sexy? What else? I've got that many things. I'm going to have to come to Annie in Ipswich. She had a big birthday this week. I keep this love. And Ian, thanks for being so kind and getting it. Yes, you, sir, Mr. Ratcliffe. Mags in Harrow and her pal Judy, good evening. Will in Brixton. Martin and his early morning knowledge, thank you very much. And John Doe in Penzance, I love and respect you.
Alright, better zoom in.
Thanks very much for being here.
I find this so therapeutic. It's unbelievable. I could sit here and do this all night long and never play a game.
Martin's taste. Dame Hannah Talbot. We will leave you with this. What I get?
Apply. Doo-dum. 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 Doo-dum.
Oh, I'm saving you from having a hernia, so don't think I leave you with nothing. This is Radio 2. It's on the BBC Sound app. It's on your smartest trousers and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC News at 8 o'clock. This is Adam Forster. The government facing criticism for announcing that Royal Navy gunboats are on standby to protect British fishing waters in the event there's no trade deal with the EU. Conservative chair of the Defence Select Committee, Tobias Elwood, called it irresponsible. Scotland's Justice Secretary, Hunter Youssef, said gunboat diplomacy would not be welcome in Scottish waters. French MEP Stephanie Bonnefontane so everyone should keep calm and carry on negotiating.
Let me be clear, we are committed to a friendly relationship, whatever its form, with our British friends. No access to French fishermen on the British waters would also access to the European continent for British fishermen to set their fish in so, no, it's definitely a deal. And of course, if it's a deal, it's a negotiation, so you have to admit some compromise.
United Nations Secretary General has called on all countries in the world to declare a state of climate emergency. Addressing an online summit of world leaders, Antonio Guterres said that if humanity didn't change course, risk of catastrophic global warming. Boris Johnson set out some of the UK's plans to reduce carbon emissions.
The leader of London and the UK is the natural home of green finance. We want our homes to be progressively emitting less and less CO2, more and more retrofitting of our homes. And the UK may be accused of lagging in, and we won't be lagging, my friends, in lagging.
Latest daily UK figures show another 519 people have died after a positive test for COVID-19, taking the total to just over 64,000. 21,502 new cases, slightly down on yesterday's.
Whoa, what happened there?
Restaurants and cafes across large parts of Scotland, including Glasgow, now to open for the first time in 3 weeks. West Central regions moved into Tier 3 from the more restricted Tier 4. Luke Tracy, who owns the Square Bar and Restaurant in Glasgow, said the run-up to Christmas is crucial.
Do what we can to try and mitigate back what most of last meetings. Realistically, with the restrictions that are in place, we will finish the month way behind what we would have normally expected. And if we could even hit 30% of what the target would have normally been for December, then we're doing quite well.
Plans to start commercial flights to the edge of space have suffered a setback. Virgin Galactic had to abort the first crewed test flight of its tourist plane after an engine malfunction. Pilots and vehicles returned to Earth safely. Football in the Premier League, the Manchester derby ended 0-0, and the weather forecast rain clearing in the north and east, leaving a chilly night for much of the UK, and rising later in the west and the southwest. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 8.
Oh, make me up.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Right then, let's do the middle. Oh, is it? Oh, oh, that one.
The sound of Wolf Mother and a track called Woman, opening up this edition of the Radio 2 Rock Show. Wolf Mother, an Australian band led by singer and guitarist Andrew Stockdale. The song was a hit for them back in 2006, featuring on their self-titled debut album. They released a new single over the summer. Surprisingly, it had a bit of a dance vibe about it, rather than rock. And the Radio 2 Rock Show this week, Johnny Walker here. Welcome along. We take a look back on the show at one of the most anticipated rock reunions in history for This Week in Rock. Choosing this week's rock god, it's Fish. Plus, I'll play a track from his latest album. Other new releases on the rock show come from The Dust Coda and Daughtry. And Doug and Christine Earle from Tenterden in Kent. Johnny, any chance of playing Bad Company by Bad Company? They're a great band. Paul Rodgers, the best rock god ever, in my opinion.
I'll go back to that. Use curve. On the eye. So basically we're just tracing out the outline of my business logo. I find it's very therapeutic to do. This is just my way of working. This is my own design of logo. If you're watching, come say hi in the chat. I'm always up for a chat while I work. Just chilling out, doing some designing. Didn't feel like gaming this evening. Ooh. Do that, right. Oops, pressing the wrong keyboard. I hate doing that. Oop, hold on. Ooh, excuse me.
Bad Company, title track to their debut album, which came out in June of 1974. It was released on Led Zeppelin's Swan Song label and recorded in November '73 at Headley Grange in Hampshire, where Led Zeppelin recorded Led Zeppelin 4.
Right then, so that's where we are at so far. Bit of a way to go yet, but it doesn't really take that long to do. Oh,
And this is the Dust Coda and Limbo.
of course I'm not finished. Still a little rusty in Fusion, but I'm getting right back into it again. Kind of used to live in this software a while ago. Recently, just done a new design in here for a customer who wanted a ladybird design in from a SVG file, which was successful and been printed, and it shall be on way tomorrow. I mean Monday. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm not talking, it's because I'm actually concentrating, but I will just speak if there's anyone about. Just doing the outline of this logo, of my business logo. Didn't go to plan, did it? Start that again. Me rushing too quick. The more points you do on a curve, the better the quality of it will be at. But I can go back and redo them. So like here we can move. Maybe this one. Not sure what happened there. Forwards. Thank you. tidying them up. Then you can adjust them to how you want them.
We release from the Dust Coda and Limbo Man. Guitarist Adam Mackey and singer John Drake formed the band in London in 2015, released their first album a couple of years later. This is the new single taken from the forthcoming album Mojo Skyline, which is out in March.
The Radiant Selection.
Now for this week in rock,
There we go.
1975, the official breakup of the Faces was announced at a London press conference. This week in 1979, The Clash released their double album London Calling. It was their third LP, and it's now sold over 5 million copies worldwide. This week in 2007, on the 10th of December, Led Zeppelin reformed for a one-off gig at the O2 in London. The gig was arranged by promoter Harvey Goldsmith as a tribute to the late Atlantic Records boss Ahmet Ertegun. A staggering 20 million requests for tickets were made for the gig, which is an official Guinness World Record. At that time, it was Led Zeppelin's first public appearance in almost 20 years, complete with John Bonham's son Jason on drums. Here's Robert Plant reminiscing about Led Zeppelin's first test.
Alrighty.
It was uncharted territory to a large degree because the Beatles had quit before they started doing this gig. They did the one big gig there, and then all that was going on. But it was going so fast and so quick that we had no perspective and there was no media coverage. We did have a PR agent to begin with, but they bailed out because it was doing it itself. I mean, you see, radio then in America was independent. Radio would talk to radio in the next town, who would talk to radio in the next town. So the whole deal, by the time we got to town number 3 on our first tour, the streets were blocked. You couldn't get to the gig because the enthusiasm, and they were playing Zeppelin 1 on the radio, and, you know, it was, I don't know, I mean, me and Bonton are looking at each other, hiding underneath the back seat of the car, and what's going on? Well, you know, the thing is, it went so, everything was moving so quickly, but the bottom line was that both me and John lived very close to each other.
Need to adjust
Both
that
came
one.
from the Black Country, both got Black Country wives and Black Country women, and so we had to go back and do the big thing, like be dad, go to the football, you know, do everything that you would do if you were a civil engineer or if you were, you know, working in a coal mine. But of course, I try and figure it out now, because I was only 20 and it kicked off. So really, I
That
was
one doesn't
growing as
look
a man,
particularly
as a father,
great.
dealing with crises that come through life anyway, family, and people's
Much better.
adjustment to who you have become.
If you just join me, I'm just making doing this. And what I'm going to be doing then, once it's all done, is then I'm going to extrude them to make them in, to raise them or de-raise them to make a mold. I'm in the mood for a mold making. I'm learning molding as part of my business. And what a great way to do that, by doing my own logo. But I'm going to also make it as a stencil for airbrushing onto things that I design. And I fancied a peaceful evening. Bit of music on the radio. Okay. Not too happy with that out. It's a bit jaggedy. Not redo it. Take my time a bit more on the going around the curve. It's a little bit jagged. Me rushing. More points you get, the more you can alter the curve. Gives you greater movability. So far, so good. That's a bit better. One. Another one that can be done by straight line. Just move that one in a bit. Easy as that.
That was Nobody's Fault But Mine, recorded live at London So2 on December the 10th, 2007. And I was lucky enough to be there, constantly pinching myself all the way through. Am I dreaming or am I really here? Seeing Led Zeppelin. It was an amazing night. But I think at the end of it, I think Robert Plant exhausted. And I think that was the time that you realized Led Zeppelin would never get back together and do a tour of the USA. Radio 2 Rock Show, track from Mick Ronson next.
Stupid thing, come on. Rushing again. Rush. Up here. Move. A bit better. Oh, hello, lost myself. Now where's it gone? That one. Ah. Oh, wrong one. Keep curves, move that. What I always find is I start going and I'll get carried away and realise I've made a boo-boo and have to go back again. As long as we keep the points closer together. Perhaps I should do more lessons like this. Lessons? So, teacher. Perhaps I should do more videos on my modelling and stuff. But not everyone's cup of tea, I suppose. Oh, what happened there? Whoops, can I go forward? No, I boo-booed. Okay, I boo-booed that. Nothing I can do about it. Just start again.
Mick Ronson, An Angel Number 9, from his 1975 album Plague and Woe. It was his second album after splitting from David Bowie and the Spiders from Mars in 1973. And around the same time, he forged a long-standing collaboration with Ian Hunter and played on several of Ian's solo albums. Now, an email from John Elliott. John Elliott here from Datchet, no Windsor. Thanks for showcasing so many new rock acts on your show. Despite the lack of live shows this year, I have a feeling the amount of awesome rock that has been released will make 2020 a year to remember, with great music amongst all the sad and hard times. Being able to watch and get involved with online shows has been a highlight. 4 names I'll be eternally grateful to for cheering me up this year are Toby Jepson, Nathan James from Inglorious, Jack J. Hutchinson, and Verity White. Made me pick up my guitar and started writing songs again. It would be great if you could play something from one of these truly fantastic people.
Oh,
Gonna go with Jack J.
right,
Hutchinson.
let's have a look at this.
Deal with the Devil.
Oh, pain on me again. Oh, has it done that? It didn't like me doing that. Let's try again. I must hit a key, one key for some reason. Still has bugs after all these years. Or it could just be me. That's better than the other one. Okay, we've got a bit of a issue here. Do that. Check my phone a minute.
Especially to John Elliott. That's Jack J. Hutchinson and Deal with the Devil. Comes from his 2017 album, Paint No Fiction. And a version of this also appeared unplugged on his Who Feeds the Lockdown album, which came out earlier this year. Jack is from London, released his first album in 2013, and has another album coming out in the spring of next year called The Hammer Falls. For my rock art, let me ask musicians to share their rock arts with you. Last week, guitarist Tyler Bryant chose Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. This week, it's Big. The Scottish singer-songwriter found fame in the mid-80s with Marillion, but he stuck out on his own in 1988 and has never looked back. He's released 11 solo albums, the most recent called Beltbirds, came out in September. We'll find out from Fish his rock art in a moment, but first, the first single from the current album. This is The Party's Over.
Better than it was. There we go. On to the next one. Obviously, these ones don't really take long to do. That in a bit. Of course, because we didn't do more than 1 point, but never mind. Should be okay. Another one. Okay. Get these circles done. Just tracing out the outline.
My rock art.
Hello, I'm Fish, and the artist I'd like to choose as my rock board is Freddie Mercury. Because he was the most
incredible frontman that's ever walked the stage, in my opinion. I first came across Queen on the old BBC.
Oops,
I think it was the
wrong button.
Queen 1, Queen 2, and of course Night of the Opera with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Just killed a man,
So,
put a gun against his head, pull the trigger, now he's
we
dead.
actually went to one support on these festivals that the Queen did in 1986.
Well,
And it was the Independent Magic Tour. And I got to meet Freddie a couple of nights before in Paris, and we got on really well. And I was absolutely blown away by him. I mean, because he was, I love God, he was an absolute, he was the presence. He watched the entire set in Mannheim from the side of the stage. And I got a message through after the performance saying that Freddie would like you to come on stage with him tonight to sing Tutti Frutti. And I had no idea what the words of Tutti Frutti. You know the song, don't know the words. Anyway, I went on stage and the roadie handed me the cut down microphone stand, you know, his signature. And across the other side of the stage was Freddie Mercury in full beam. And I was given a lesson as a frontman in the nicest possible way. It's like, this is my stage, don't you ever forget it. And he was absolutely brilliant. And to feel that presence from the stage was incredible. I was very lucky to stand on a stage with him, but my rock god is most definitely Freddie Mercury.
wow, what messages coming on? Let's see. Hey. Oh man, won't go. One man, won't go. One reason, one night, one soul. Pushing up all loser, one size, all the lightning. One mission, one lost, one found, one true religion. One nice one, one true religion. Or no way. No turning that I black and white. One nation, one peace, one goal, one true religion. There's one faith, one other. Oh, I had a dream when I was young. And I dream was real young. Can't beat a bit of Queen. Give me your number. No. Best showman on earth.
That was One Vision from Queen, recorded live at Wembley in 1986. Freddie Mercury, Worth the Rock God, and Fish. His new album, and he says it's going to be his final one ever, is called Beltcuts and is out now. Now, here's Girl School.
Oh. Work on this bit here. Oh.
Demolition Boys by Girl School, The Old Girl Band South London, that's track one, side one of their debut album Demolition, came out in June of 1980. The album made the top 30, spurred on by the popularity of the new wave of British heavy metal of the time, and by support slots on tour with the likes of Black Sabbath and Uriah Heep. The band is still around, and their last album came out in 2015 and was called Guilty as Sin. New release time now, here's Daughtry. Daughtry and World on Fire, a new release from the American rock band American Idol 7 years ago. The track's already been
Hey.
sixth album, nothing was due.
Can comment up with that. Hang on a moment. We're back in 2 secs. Audio. Bitrate 180. Was it Stan? 128. Yeah, bitrate. Audio bitrate is on 100 and is lower than the recommended. Audio bitrate. Range.
Well, just for a change, the
Mute. Strange. Never mind.
is for
Around that way.
start of December 1986. Europe still going strong. They've been busy on their YouTube channel during lockdown and have released exclusive tracks and performances for fans to enjoy. And Europe end this edition of The Rock Show. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on BBC Sounds. And if you have already, good for you. Thank you. Thanks to the Liz, Queen of Rock Dance, and Jess Lloyd. They're from Listen, producer code for Radio 2. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon at 3 with some sounds of the 70s. So, wishing you well. Take good care. This is BBC Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app, smart speaker, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC News at 9 o'clock. This is Adam Porter. Talks are set to continue overnight on a trade deal with the EU. Government sources offer as it stands remains unacceptable. Decision to be made tomorrow about whether to end the negotiations. The government has been criticised for putting the Royal Navy on standby to deal with any illegal fishing in British waters in the event of no deal. The Deputy Director of the Normandy Fisheries Organisation, Matthew Kumar, says it shouldn't be necessary to board French trawlers.
If the Royal Navy work like this, it's pity, but now most important, I would say, it is to know the route. If we have to cut the channel in 2 parts, probably it will be difficult for a lot of fishermen in Europe. The most important is to know the route because we will find a solution.
Countries including China, India, and the UK have made new commitments to cut carbon emissions. Virtual climate summit co-hosted by the UK. The head of the UN, Antonio Guterres, said it was time for all countries to declare a climate emergency. The ISMA's Secretary Alof Sharma said real progress had been. Around 1,000 people have gathered in central Manchester to demonstrate against the coronavirus restrictions. The organisers called it a freedom rally. The council said it was an insult to the NHS. Among those protesting was Piers Corbyn, brother of the former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn.
It's taken away of jobs and the rights of expression and the right of assembly. And the purpose of what they're doing is not anything to do with the virus. The purpose of what they're doing is to destroy jobs and the economy.
Avon and Somerset police are appealing for information after the body of a newborn boy was discovered in a garden in Weston-super-Mare. Officers say they urgently want to find the mother. Virgin Galactic has aborted the first crewed test flight of a plane which will carry passengers to the edge of space. The rocket got to 40,000 feet over New Mexico. Its motor malfunctioned. and aim to reach a height of 50 miles above the planet to test the cabin experiments and produce. In Formula 1, Max Verstappen is on pole for Red Bull. The season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix tomorrow. Lewis Hamilton will start third. Mercedes driver returned after suffering from coronavirus. Said it's not 100% fixed.
Day was definitely hard. I think yesterday and today have both been a couple of the hardest days that I've had probably in the car this year. But I gave it everything I could. It was just not the perfect laps and not the usual me.
In football, it ended goalless in the derby between Manchester United and Manchester City. Only Aston Villa and Wolves, and Newcastle had a home win against West Brom. Everton are currently taking on Chelsea. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 9.
My life in a mixtape.
I'm David Williams, and I've chosen all the music you'll hear over the next 60 minutes because this is my life in a mixtape. You might know me from my work with Matt Lucas, White Mark, 59 children's books, some of the most popular are Mr. Stink, Mr. Granny, The Boy in the Dress, and Grandpa's Great Escape. I'm also a judge on Britain's Got Talent, or you might know me for singing the English Channel or the River Thames in Aid of Sport. Or maybe you just don't know me at all. Well, hello, here I am. Now, I grew up in a village called Banstead in Surrey. Surrey is a little way out of London, and it's pretty much in a nuclear family. My dad is not with us anymore, Peter Williams, not Williams. He worked for London Transport as a civil engineer. My mum, Kathleen, was a lab technician. She's now retired. And my sister, who's a child at the time, is now a primary school teacher. Now, Banstead in Surrey is a nice place to grow up, but nothing much happens there. So if you were yearning for excitement like I was, you always look forward to any trip at all to London where all the excitement happened, and that's where I live now. Now, over the next hour, I've chosen all the songs that bring back special memories for me. Music has been the soundtrack to my life so far. I'm 49, so I'm about halfway through my life. I'm making a mixtape for you. There'll be a side 1 and a side 2, and it's been hard to choose just an hour's worth of songs, but I've given it my best shot, so here goes. Now, kicking off side 1 is the soundtrack to my childhood and school years. And for the first track, I've chosen a piece of music, which is probably the first piece of music I remember listening to. Now, Morrissey, the singer from The Smiths, was once asked when he was happiest, and he said it was the day before he was born, when he was still in his mother's womb. Well, I'm not going to claim I was at my happiest in the womb, but I was at my happiest when my sister is 2 years older than me. I was going to say she was 2 years older than me. She's still 2 years older than me. So she was at school, and I was alone with my mum.
Circle
And we
here.
used to play all day, and we'd have mince and things for lunch. And my
Can
mum
I-
put the radio on,
Yep.
and she listened to Jimmy Young's show. And Jimmy Young was one of the most popular DJs on the BBC at that time. And he had this fabulous piece of
Move
music.
it
which
over.
I wanted to show.
Just a
So when I hear this
snitching.
piece of music, it always makes me happy and brings me back to that memory when I'm alone at home with my mum.
So obviously with that, we're
This is
going to have
Town
to...
Talk by Ken Woodman and Dylan Brown. Such a happy, jazzy piece of music and was the perfect accompaniment to Jimmy Young's voice, which will forever be etched on my memory, and I'm sure my mum's too. So we come to the first song that I really liked. And I think my first ever trip to the cinema, like many children, was to see a Disney film. And the one I saw, which I think is one of the best Disney films of the time, is The Jungle Book, which is now one I've watched probably about 20 or 30 times with my son. And the standout song from the film is one that pretty much everyone knows. It's The Bare Necessities. And I think this is a wonderful song when you're a kid because it's a bit like a fun uncle is singing you this song. Because when Mowgli is with Baloo He's free. He's free to have fun with this great big jolly bear. And so this song always goes.
That's the handle. Just move.
I mean, yesterday, all the nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I walk, wherever I go, I go to the found of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey.
That's why you should. That one. That one.
The bare necessities of life will come together. They'll come together. Bare necessities. The bare necessities. Forget about your words and your right. I mean, bare necessities. That's why a bare necessity is just the bare necessities of life. Now, when you get a long ball or a prickly pear, and you prick a wrong ball, well, next time, beware. Don't pick the prickly pear for the ball. When you pick a pear, try to use the claw. But you don't need the claw when you pick a pear of the big paw. Have I given you a clue? The bare necessities of life will come to you. They'll come to you.
Better. That's better. That's better. Straight lines now.
All apart, my back. Because let me tell you something, little Chris. If you act like that bee, you're working too hard. And don't spend your time looking around for something you want that can't be found. When you find out you can live without it and go along, not thinking about it, I'll tell you something true. The bare necessities of life will come to you. The bare necessities. Bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your stress. I mean the bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest in it. With just the bare necessities of life. Yeah. With just the bare necessities of life. Wow. What a joyful song. It actually reminds me that Simon Cowell always says that he never watches the news. But when he gets up, the first thing he does is not turn on the news like many of us and see all the doom and gloom. He just watches cartoons. That's brilliant, actually, because if you watch something like The Jungle Book every day, you'll be a lot happier than if you watch the news. So I think I'm going to turn on The Jungle Book. As I grew a little older, there was a TV show that cast a spell over me like no other, and an actor cast a spell on me, and still casts a spell on me to this very day. The actor's name is Tom Baker, and his signature role was as the Doctor in Doctor Who. Note, I am a Whovian. Therefore, I don't say he's called Doctor Who. He's not called Doctor Who. That is the name of the television show. He's called the Doctor. And he started his tenure as the Doctor in 1974. Was probably watching it from about 4 or 5 years old, right until he left the role in 1981. And so this piece of music, which I'm sure we all know, is the Doctor Who theme, it always sent shivers down my spine. Always meant terrifying to come. There's something magical about Tom Baker in this role. So much so that when I was an adult, I queued out to get his autograph. And when he brought out his autobiography, a few years after that, me and Matt Lucas were putting together a radio show, and we knew we wanted a narrator. And who would we really, really like to meet? He also has a brilliant voice. Tom Baker. I get to finally work with Tom Baker. So he came in, charmed us. He'd say the most extraordinary thing, like just before he left, he might say something like, life was so much simpler in the days before penicillin. Then he just played through. We don't know what he meant this very day. But he is an incredible character, a brilliant actor, and this piece of music means so much to anyone who was a child in Britain at any time over the last 15 or so years. This is the Doctor Who theme. In 1977, when I was 6 years old, my mum and dad took me and my sister up to London and Leicester Square to see the double bill. That double bill was The Spy Who Loved Me and Live and Let Die. Now, are there two better films in existence? I think not. And James Bond films are always famous for their pre-type sequences, there's amazing action sequences before the films even started. And Spy Who Loved Me starts with this unbelievable stunt. James Bond is skiing down a mountain, being pursued by the bad guys. He skis off the edge of the cliff, he's floating through the air, and you think, well, that's it, he's going to die. But a parachute opens, and it's a Union Jack parachute. And I remember the audience bursting into applause. I guess it was a patriotic year. It was the year of the Silver Jubilee, when the Queen was celebrating 25 years on the throne. And from that moment, I was completely hooked on James Bond movies. I was completely in love with Roger Moore. And this song then started from that moment, just as you saw the Union Jack parachute open. And it's also the song that was played at Roger Moore's funeral. I went to his funeral because we became friends in adult life. He had a fantastic sense of humor, so self-deprecating, and very warm. He used to take me out for dinner and lunch, and we'd meet up, and always loved spending time with him. Every woman I introduced to him fell in love with him instantly, whether it be my mother, who, when we were having dinner once, because he lived in Monaco, he couldn't have shepherd's pie anymore. My mum went, oh, I'll make you a shepherd's pie, Sir Roger. He was an amazing character. He'd make fun of himself as an actor. He'd say, I get bad reviews for films I'm not even in. He'd say, at least it wasn't as bad as that awful Roger Moore. Well, I love Roger Moore. I'll always love Roger Moore. And Roger Moore will live forever because his films will live forever. And this is his signature moment. And this is an incredible song, and quite unlike the sort of song you might expect to hear in a Bond film. But it's really survived. Will always remind me of him. This is Carly Simon. Nobody does it better.
Oh. Thank you all that. But oh, excuse me.
Next track brings me back to watching Top of the Pops with my sister in the 1970s. This was a show we always watched. Me and my sister would sit on the sofa watching Top of the Pops, and we put our thumbs up for songs that we liked. We put our thumbs down for songs we didn't. Well, this was a song that got 2 thumbs up. Now, it was quite spooky, and I didn't really understand at the time what this lady was up to. It was Kate Bush, and her song, Wuthering Heights, that really put her on the map. And I turned to my mum and said, "What is this all about?" And my mum said, "Well, the song Wuthering Heights is actually a book, and this lady is playing Kathy, a ghost. She's come back to haunt her lover, Heathcliff. Now, when you're young, you obviously don't know the difference between what's real and what's magic. So I thought that Kate Bush was actually a real life ghost. It actually had a ghost on Top of the Pop singing. And so it always cast a spell over me as a child, and still casts a spell over me now. It's just a slice of magic. Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush.
Oh, balls. You know, have a drink, ready to be eat. Did it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. Oh, I'm going for a break now. Thanks for watching, if you did watch.